City boy, city boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Nate the Great, back with another video. And today we got to talk about the greed and the absolute gaslighting that is going on from the WWE. Now, before we just really jump in and really hone in on the issues that we're going to be talking about today, we obviously got to talk about the big releases that happened today. So we had R-Truth come out earlier in the day and say, hey, I'm getting released from WWE. Thank you to WWE. Thank you for the fans for being along for the ride, right? We get R-Truth, who just was in a match with John Cena, Saturday Night Live, or Saturday Night Main Event, right? Then he goes out, after jobbing to John Cena, he goes out and jobs to Jeffrey Cobb, right? Jefferson Cobb. He goes out and jobs to him, and then the next day or a couple days later, he's released. He's being released, or is being told that his contract is not going to be renewed. Now, R-Truth is objectively better than 90% of the roster. It just is what it is. He's more entertaining than 90% of the roster. And honestly, the same could possibly be said for the other guy that got released today, which is Carlito. Right? Carlito came back 2 years ago at Backlash to an insane pop. All right? And then from there, they did absolutely nothing with him. First, he was in the LWO for a couple of months, right? And then he ended up turning on Rey Mysterio and, basically going along with Santos Escobar with turning on Rey Mysterio. And then from there, he's just been in the Judgment Day. Right? Just being in the Judgment Day, not doing anything of note, but just being a background character. And I've said it for months that Carlito, he needs to find the first door, the first exit out of that motherfucking company, because he's literally built like a freaking tank at this point in his career. He has a good look, right? Still, his comedic timing is still very good. So I'm like, how the fuck is Jey Uso getting a championship opportunity, a world heavyweight championship opportunity, right? Winning the world heavyweight championship by beating Gunther with a fucking chokehold, right? Like, not even his own move. He just pulls out a fucking chokehold for the first time in his career and pins or submits Gunther, right? He gets that opportunity. But Carlito, somebody who's actually really talented, somebody who's really funny, somebody who could possibly be upper mid-carder or mid-carder, or even adjacent to the main event scene, right? Adjacent to the main event scene. He's being released today. Jey Uso hasn't cut a good promo since he turned into a single superstar. That's just the truth of the matter here. People say, oh, the promo that he cut on Gunther the week after Jimmy, that whole situation with Jimmy Uso and Gunther beating his ass, they said that shit was good. I thought it was horrible. And it was out of place. 7 weeks straight of brawling, and then 1 week you just decide not to brawl, and it's a week where the brawl would actually make sense, right? You go out there, and instead of brawling with him, you just have a very serious promo, right? It was out of place. So we have R-Truth and Carlito, two guys who are far more talented than 90% of the roster. They get released today. Now, on one hand, it's like, all right, these guys have probably got 20 minutes of TV time total over the last 2-3 years. And, so like them being released, it's not really like we're going to be missing much because they don't do much on the show, right? It's just the fact that both of these guys had a lot of potential. Even R-Truth at 53 years old, which is crazy, right? At 53 years old, R-Truth is still more talented, more entertaining than 90% of the roster. It just is what it is. Yet, for some reason, they're being released, all right? This is just further proof of the greed, right? The absolute greed that we're seeing from WWE. Talents just being released, and it would be one thing if the talents that are being released, they just don't have it, right? They just won't cut it, this, that, and the other. But we have Braun Strowman being released. Bobby Lashley over the last year has been released, right? We have all these talented wrestlers that have been released, and they just weren't being used properly before they left. They had nothing. They were given nothing. before they left. All WWE cares about is money. Now, I saw this on Saturday night, or not Saturday night, on Friday Night SmackDown, right? I saw that they had the Fanatics Fest thing going on. And, I was like, all right, let me go ahead and check this out. I just want to see what this Fanatics Fest thing is, right? So, Fanatics Fest is basically just going to be an event where they're going to be, there's going to be superstars there, right? They're going to be selling merch. They're going to be doing, that's basically what they're going to be doing. They're going to be selling merch. They're going to be selling, WWE cards and collectibles and all kinds of stuff like that. And, there'll be opportunities to see superstars. Now, of course, I had to look at the prices, right? Because something like this, it really feels like if you're going to have people coming through so that way they can buy these expensive ass trading cards, expensive ass merchandise, and, all this exclusive stuff that you're talking about, then the prices should be pretty cheap to get in there, right? And, I was actually pleasantly surprised. The cheapest tickets to get in there are $60. Now, pleasantly surprised when I mean by that is that it wasn't $200 to get in there, but $60 to get into an event that's not even a real wrestling show. This is not a wrestling show. All right. There were times where I got tickets back in the day to get into the house shows for $20. $20 tickets for me, my cousin, and my grandpa, taking us out to go and see a house show back in Colorado. Those were some of the best times. And just to get to a Fanatics Fest, just to get in, just to be there, this is the most basic price that you could possibly get. All right, $60. And then, of course, they have the VIP tickets and the platinum tickets and shit like that. And I will put that on the screen because the VIP tickets, they were completely sold out. But the platinum tickets, they're still selling. All right. And the platinum tickets are sitting at over $3,000 per person. This shit is crazy. It's not even a wrestling show. It's not even a wrestling show. You're not going to see wrestling happen there. You're going to pick up collectibles and shit like that. It's basically a big ass Comic-Con for wrestling. That's what you're going for. And you're going to be paying $3,000+ to do that, to get VIP access, get a picture taken with maybe some superstars, maybe, to walk down a fake ass ramp and get a dedicated entrance. You're going to pay $3,000+ for that shit. And that's what the WWE is. Just completely price gouging the fans, just taking the fans for literally all the money that they have. And the worst part is that this shit is in New York City. So it's like, who are you trying to get to buy this shit, man? Like, New York City is expensive. It's an expensive place to live, man. There's streets in New York City that you can't drive on without paying a fine, without paying a toll, like just regular streets that used to be free. But now it's so damn, like, the taxes have got so out of control. You can't drive down the street without paying. And they want to charge $3,000 for some VIP tickets. We're being gaslit into believing that this is the best time. This is the best time in the history of WWE, and they're making all this money. Well, the reason why you're making all this money is because of how much money you're charging the people. Just straight gaslighting. And they're gaslighting us in more than one way. Not only are they gaslighting us with how much money they're making, when the whole reason why they're making so much money is because of how much money they're charging per ticket, right? They're telling us, oh, we have a record crowd, but they're not telling us, hey, we have a sellout crowd tonight, because it was not a sellout crowd on this last Friday night SmackDown. It was a quote unquote record crowd. It was more of a crowd than they had the last time they went. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. But it's not a sellout, right? Gaslighting us in that way. We got to sit here and watch Jeffrey Cobb fucking job out R-Truth. And they're telling us that Jeffrey Cobb is 265 pounds. Get the fuck out of my face. I almost pissed my pants laughing. because they said Jeffrey Cobb is 265 pounds. Whole match, Wade Barrett and fucking Joe Tessitore, they're trying to say, oh, well, Jeffrey Cobb is such a solid human being, such a massive human being. This guy is 5'8". 200 pounds at most. All right. The absolute most I'll give him is 220. That's the absolute most that I'll give him is 220. But I do not think that this man weighs more than 195 pounds, maybe 200 pounds. He's definitely strong, right? He has that strength, especially for such a shorter guy, such a small guy. But he is not no fucking 265 pounds. We have to sit here and listen to these motherfuckers lie. And he's going over R-Truth, somebody who's immensely 220,000 times more fucking talented than him. And it's not like Jeff Cobb is that much younger than R-Truth. Jeff Cobb is 42 or some shit like that. So R-Truth is just 10 years older than him, 11 years older than him. And we have to sit here and watch this shit happen. This is the worst era in the history of WWE. We're getting nothing but gaslighting, nothing but the greed, all right? Just so much greed. Even the stages, I've been noticing this so much lately, just the stages, the set design, horrible. Everything is just so fucking backed up and relegated to nothingness. They've downgraded everything. Everything from the talent to the set designs to the camera to everything has been downgraded, and they've downgraded and they're making more money on the back end, and they're telling us that, record profits, record revenue, record profits. It's because you're not putting any money into your product. No effort. You're charging $200, $300, $400 for fucking nosebleed seats to a Saturday night or a Friday night SmackDown. And we can't even see footage of a Naomi going in and breaking into Bianca Belair's parents' house. We can't even see a footage of that. Because why would we show you that when we could just tell you that it happened? And you can just believe us. Like, what is this? And we're supposed to be paying hundreds of dollars to sit in the nosebleeds. We're paying hundreds of dollars a year to keep up with Netflix and Peacock and all this shit. We're paying hundreds of dollars a year to keep up with YouTube TV or whatever live streaming platform that you have, so you can keep up with USA and all this shit, just so we can watch your fucking show. And you're giving us the absolute bare minimum. This is And this isn't just a problem that's existing with WWE. This is happening all across media in general. In music, we're getting the least creative motherfucking music that has ever existed on the face of the planet. There's no creative thought being put into music these days, and it's just bad. It's like music that's not made for anybody. It's just made for public consumption, not made for an artist general audience and art to push forward a message that the artist has. No, just content for consumption. Movies are just content for consumption. Explosion here, small lady beating up 20 men here. This is not just WWE. It's everywhere. Everywhere we're getting downgraded. Everything is downgraded. There's no effort. We're not even getting new movies anymore. Just sequel after sequel after live action remake. We're in the worst time in media history, and wrestling is just falling by the wayside with everything else. So if Triple H doesn't think that WWE can go down, just ask Disney and just look at what Disney is going through right now, right? Look at what Nickelodeon is going through right now. Look at what all these different companies and these media enterprises are going through right now. Even the theaters, what are they going through right now? The people will tune out soon. Like, they're already doing it in record numbers, in record capacity. Because what the fuck is Seth Rollins doing, right? With Braun Breaker? What the fuck is Braun Breaker doing with Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed? What are they doing being chumps behind Seth Rollins? Why is Seth Rollins doing what he's doing again? They're saying that this shit is fucking, I've been seeing so many comparisons like, oh, this is basically an evolution. No, it's not. It's not evolution. This is the Monday Night Messiah. We're just getting that gimmick repackaged because Seth really thinks that he has the ability to carry an entire show on his back when he does not. When he was the World Heavyweight Champion, it was mid. When he was the Monday Night Messiah the first time, it was mid. All this revolutionary, I am a visionary, I am a revolutionary, all of his gimmicks over the last 10 years basically have failed. And now we're doing the same shit again. We're just repackaging the Monday Night Messiah shit, and we're just, instead of AOP being behind him, now instead we have Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. This isn't evolution or anything like it. This is more bullshit from WWE, and we just have to accept it, right? We have John Cena in his last fucking year. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to greed, man. His last year. These are his last appearances. These are his last feuds. Oh, you can get him for like 5 minutes at the end of a show on a SmackDown. We don't even get to see John Cena interacting with the people backstage. How do they feel about John Cena being on his last run? How do they feel? How does LA Knight feel? How does fucking Tozawa feel? How does Rusev feel? How does fucking anybody? How does Drew McIntyre feel? How does Damian Priest feel? How does everybody feel about John Cena trying to ruin wrestling, which is his storyline, supposedly, right? This quote unquote storyline. He's trying to ruin wrestling. How do they feel about this? How do they feel about the regime of WWE? How do they feel about their spots? We don't even know. We don't know because they don't care enough to give us this information. They just throw a bunch of people out there, a bunch of faces. They do cool moves in the ring and then hope that they get over. Week by week, the show is getting harder to watch. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to be strong for the people. But it's hard to be strong for the people when they're not even, like, there's zero effort. This last Friday Night SmackDown pissed me off to the highest levels because zero effort was put into place. They've already buried Julia, and then she just finally gets a video package. It's too late. It's over for Julia. It's over. And she doesn't even have a distinct character. Disgust or your laughs or your whatever. It doesn't faze me. I don't care what you think. Like, okay, well, if you don't care what the audience thinks about you, then why are you here? Like, come on. What is this shit that we get week after week after week, man? It's the same shit over and over again, and they're going to charge you more next week. They have to, because they have to keep their numbers up. They got to keep their numbers high. They don't want to record another loss, take another hit to the stocks. And instead of doing the right thing, which is just putting your all into the product, putting your all into the characters and the stories and things like that, so that way people can actually be invested the right way. Now we're just gonna inflate the product, inflate the prices. We're gonna monetize literally everything. Fucking the ring that gets taken away. It's no longer sacred. We're gonna have a different fucking sponsorship on each turnbuckle. We're gonna have sponsorships all over the announcing table. We're gonna have sponsorships outside of the ring. We're gonna have sponsorships all over the arena. We're gonna have sponsorships everywhere on the ramp. All right, we're gonna have sponsorships everywhere. Everything is for sale because they're milking the company for as much money as possible. And we're paying the price as the consumer. So like I said, I want to keep doing these reviews. It's just hard, and it's harder and it's harder. And then when you see people like R-Truth and Carlito getting released when especially R-Truth never really got a chance to shine as a main event player, because he definitely could have, especially 2011. We're talking about his heel turn, one of my favorite heel turns of all time. And he was great in this run, absolutely spectacular in this run. But of course, this was, getting towards the end of peak Super Cena, right? Where he was literally just burying everybody. Like, then I mean, it is what it is, right? But he was literally burying everybody at this point in time. So it was like nobody was able to get an opportunity. But somebody over this last decade should have said R-Truth deserves to win the world championship at least once. Just once. Give it to him one time. But no, he was relegated to being a comedy character for the last 10 years, and now Triple H is going to release him after he's, milked him for all he's worth. And then you do the same for Carlito. You bring him back, waste 2 years of his life. I mean, he collected a fat paycheck for those 2 years, so that's nice for him. Hopefully he saved some of that money. But at the end of the day, he sat on his ass basically for 2 years, and where he could have been out anywhere, TNA, AEW, wherever the fuck he wanted to go. And he could have actually been telling stories and doing things that are consequential to his company. But no, he was just a background jobber for the majority of the 2 years that he was there. And boom, just released during the middle of the day on a Sunday. Fucking crazy, man. WWE is... they're heartless right now, man. Like, it's a cutthroat business, man. It's a cutthroat business. Let me know what y'all think of these releases down in the comments below. What y'all think about the absolute greed and the gaslighting that's been, happening as a result of all the bullshit going on in the company with TKO, with Triple H, right? Triple trash, triple dunce. All right. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want to hear some more. And this has been your boy, Nate the Great, back with another video. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.